All right, sounds good. So do we know the question? Do you want to frame the question then?
I don't know. I can, but Shang-Hoon, if you want to rephrase it yourself, you can also do.
Okay. I'd like to share my screen. Originally, I thought that I need to some suggestion for describing TLS. However, I think I figured out by myself. So instead of some suggestion, I have prepared two minor questions for TLS environment. Yeah. Let me see my
Okay.
screen. Oh, do you have yeah, can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah. My first question is, yeah. Yeah, my first question is describing TLS 1.3 protocol in CBOM. I noticed that there are some different cipher suite of TLS and cipher suite of TLS 1.3. So I'd like to ask you what kinds of algorithm are to be specified to describe cipher suite in CBOM for TLS 1.3. In TLS 1.2, there are four kinds of algorithm is normally specified this algorithm section. Uh, However, TLS 1.3 cipher suite is shorter than TLS 1.2 cipher suite. So I was wondering what kind of algorithm is mandatory for to be specified this area. So I think block cipher and hash algorithm is mandatory, and key exchange may be required. I'm not sure signature algorithm may be necessary. Yeah. This is my first question.
Yeah, maybe just I can comment on it. So I think one part is kind of implicitly defined by the TLS 1.3 string, right? Like that it's AES 256 GCM, right? Uses SHA-384, right?
Yeah, right.
And then there will be some additional algorithms, usually for key agreement, right? Or key establishment and signatures involved, right? Which is, I think, usually negotiated as part of the negotiation. So in my opinion, there would be another signature algorithm and a key establishment algorithm involved. That could be added to the algorithms. But just that's my opinion about that. Yeah.
Yeah, all of four algorithm is mandatory, you mean?
Yeah, I think it depends a bit on what information you have, right? About what will be the negotiated group. If you know that information, then specific elliptic curve like you have here with ECDH curve 25519, I think that's also available in 1.3, or that's available in 1.3, so that's could be added as well. I don't think we have mandatory, kind of just from this schema, they are not mandatory. So it depends really what information you have about that exact configuration for TLS.
Okay.
Yeah, because I mean, from an implementation perspective, you could, I mean, there's a subset of algorithms for 1.3 versus 1.2, but even for the configuration, you could support a subset of 1.3. You don't have to support the entirety of 1.3. I think one thing to kind of note is that we don't really, from a specification perspective, we don't separate the difference between negotiation and what happens after negotiation, if that makes sense.
Yes, and I'm sorry. Also, since I'm not 100% sure if you interpreted it the right way, but this algorithm array is basically just references to those algorithm objects. So they are not here defined as part of this part of the spec or the CBOM, but you can basically link here with the so-called BOM refs to those objects you define somewhere else, and you can, since it's an array, you can have as many links as you want or as few as you want, and put them in here.
Yeah, these are just references.
Yeah, okay. I thought that signature algorithm, for example, RSA 248 is already related to certificates. So I think that this signature algorithm may not be necessary in for this cipher suite. But however, I think I can include the signature algorithm for my implementation. No problem. Okay, and I'd like to move on second question. Yeah, I am trying to creating crypto inventory from BTLS and KIC protocol application. It is like it is based on those protocols are based on TLS protocols. So I described the crypto inventories for this protocol as the same format of TLS. However, the TLS and KIC is not are not defined in CBOM schema. So simply I classified this protocol as other protocol types. So it is it is just practical approaches. So I'm not sure it is appropriate approaches. So do you have any recommendation for DTLS and KIC protocols?
Yeah, I think right now it's because it's an enum, you would have to put it under other, right? But I think that would be a possibility in my view to add those protocols to the list here, like Quick, DTLS, and yeah, because it's I mean we added kind of a for the previous version, like I think like most popular protocols, right? But I think it's because it's an EDOM, it could be extended for maybe for the next version of CycloneDX.
Yep, I would agree with that. I mean, there's enough differences between TLS and DTLS, and then Quick is kind of the newcomer. So, yeah, it's a quick fix to add it to the next version. But in the meantime, you can just use other.
Yeah, okay, great. In my opinion, DTLS is adding DTLS is simpler than Quick because Quick adopts additional encryption method for their Quick packets. So I'm not sure. I think that adding Quick is more. There is more consideration for adding Quick. Do you have already planned for adding Quick protocol as well as DTLS? Okay, thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Yeah, this is all my question. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Basil or Nicholas, would you want to submit a PR to add those two enums?
Yes.
Do you want to add your pull request, Nicholas?
Yeah, I will make it for me. Yes, will do.
Oops. Oh, yeah.
Great.
I haven't checked my email yet today, so I don't know if there's been any other movement on the 1.7 cryptography branch. Has anybody submitted? I know I looked at yours yesterday, Basil. Was there any others that have been worked on since then?
No, this was
Sadly,
I don't see
I mean,
any.
from my side, this was the PR, just one PR.
Yeah.
Basically extending the crypto algorithm list. I mean, that has a few updates, like so. I mean, just to give some context, we are working on defining, kind of make it definitions on how to name crypto algorithms, including variants, including their variants. So the PR and kind of the approach that we use is go through different protocols like TLS, different versions of TLS. And now with this PR, I went through the current draft of PKCS 11, so the OASIS draft for PKCS 11, and tried to capture all the algorithms in there, so which extends the list quite a bit. So that's one thing. The other thing, and I think that's what we discussed in our last call, was to change a little bit the schema for the crypto names definitions. So the idea is that we have algorithm family, which is, for example, AES, right? And then we have different variants. And right, and each variant comes with a primitive. So we have, for example, a pattern like AES 128. Oh, yes, thanks for sharing that. Yeah, so we have AES 128, 192, 256, and then all kinds of different modes of operations and padding and the length of the initialization vector. So that's the primitive here is a block cipher. But now because AES, different variants of AES are used to construct, for example, authenticated encryption. So we have extended this schema here to be able to express different pattern and primitives combinations. So here we have now just block ciphers, then authenticated encryption, key wrap. So that's a primitive that I added to the schema as well. And MAC, so message authentication. And we try to sync that across the algorithms list. Which I think the advantage is that the family is just AES, right? And then there are a lot of different combinations and variants that you can use with AES. And the same thing for some other algorithms.
This is really good work, Basil. I did have a question when I'm interpreting something like this, for example. We've got the curly braces, and then we got the parentheses. What is the difference between the curly brace and the parenthesis in this case?
I think there isn't any, just still have to double check the consistency here of this.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of a pseudo regex, right?
Yeah.
It's just one of those, right? And I think what we also discussed at some point is that to have kind of a modifier at the beginning to say that this, yeah, maybe you don't know what exact variant you're dealing with, right? So this could be optional, right?
Right.
Yeah, but
Yeah, I think the variant is right now. Is that required? I can't remember. Let's see. Yeah, it is. But the property is required, which is an array, but it looks like it can be an empty array as well. I think. I'll have to look. Or maybe not, no.
yeah.
Okay. All right. So do we want to make that optional, or I mean, not that it matters much, because ultimately we're the only ones that really have control over the list. So I don't think it ultimately matters all that much.
Yeah. I mean, now you would need to put an empty array, right?
Right. We had a gentleman last week from the wireless telecommunications industry attend our group, right? And he was discussing protocols that essentially are a hybrid of other protocols. I can't remember the name of the protocol he was specifically referring to, but does this schema take in consideration those types of things?
I believe the schema, yes, right?
Okay.
I think it was in the 5G, like 5G
Right.
algorithms. So yeah, I mean I think there is a algorithm family, and some variants there as well.
Okay.
That would be valuable to have in the list as well.
Right.
Right. I mean, we are not just restricting to the most popular just a few protocols, but I mean, it's good to have a list that is as exhaustive as possible. Right.
Got it. No, this is good. So what's the next step to kind of expand upon the list?
Yeah.
What do we want to do there? I think now that the schema is pretty solid, do we want to put like a call to action type of thing, like on social, to get people to contribute, or do we want to post some messages and maybe some crypto circles, or how do we want people to like help us contribute to this list? Or do
Good
we want that?
question. I mean, could be something that we do. I think what we saw in the past is that people more like, oh, we are interested in CBOM, join this call, and then tried CBOM out and figure out there's some limitation, and then have suggestions. So not just out of the wild, basically they were already engaging with that kind of, or with CBOM. So I don't know if that we can still try it. I don't see a problem with that. Just don't know if it will be like effective.
Right.
I think what Nicholas, you did right now, I mean, just inviting people, right, to join.
Yeah.
Join the working group like we have now, right? Luckily, yeah, maybe that's the most promising thing, right, in my view.
Well, the good thing about this is that it's a dedicated sub schema, so it's going to evolve independently of the specification. So it's not like we have to populate everything right now, but we do really need to make sure that the schema itself is fairly solidified, because we don't want to change it after the fact.
Yeah. Yeah, and then
Um,
from my side, there's still some things, just this some work as well. So I mean, P11 is now kind of processed. So there's still IPsec I want to go through.
Yep.
And this list of that Nicholas has shared at some point, with IBM, we have this longer list of crypto algorithms, right?
Yep.
Think the list that they are represented, or to check that they are represented.
I would expect nothing less. No, okay, this is good. Are there any other changes that we need to make to the you know, the actually there is, isn't there? We need to now integrate the algorithm family into the specification, right? Nicholas,
Right.
is that still that's the only outstanding thing now, right?
At least from the concrete to-dos, yes, I think there were some suggestions or some updates that we can possibly also put in 1.7 if we want to. Like, you know, from Shenghun, the suggestion, I don't know, T-Bird would maybe also have something. There's some suggestion around key management from part of our IBM business unit that they see there's some gaps, and the question is if we still want to do it in 1.7, so how the timeline looks there, and yeah, that's just in general the question. But from a concrete to do, I think it's just the algorithm families. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's figure out what we need to do, or if we need to do, but let's figure out what we need to do if you want to support algorithm families in the specification. If we can do that like in the next couple of weeks, that would likely be ideal. Because then I need to take all of our changes and XMLify it, and I need to make sure they're also available in Protobuf, so that if you're using both of those serialization formats, you can take advantage of all the stuff that we've done in 1.7. After all of that's done, then there's a 30-day kind of RFC period for the community, and then it goes through the ECMA TC54 for the actual vote for the standardization itself. And we do that for every single like change to the spec, and this being like one big change. Now the sub schema doesn't necessarily have to go through TC54. But the modifications that we've done to CycloneDX proper do.
Okay. So we do have kind of a concrete timeline that it should be like, you know, in the next weeks, you kind of want to freeze it to create the XML protobuf, and then we have the community phase, and then
yeah, that way it gives us plenty of time to get the changes for cryptography in to the base spec this summer, so that when September rolls around, we can have the plan is to have the documentation in a state where we can get it ready for the ECMA General Assembly in December.
Makes sense. Okay,
that would be ideal. So if we can do that, that would be great.
Yeah, I have.
That was it.
Okay, I just want to say I still the to do on my to list to take this tool you have in the repo to automatically create the this enum of strings.
Yeah.
Okay, because I had it on my list that I will do that.
Oh, okay. If you want to do it, that's great. I have enough on my plate. Okay.
Yeah,
I still need to do the curves. That's still on my plate. I'm gonna take care of the curves, and I apologize. I haven't had a chance to do that yet. But I will. that subschema also is going to be independent of CycloneDX proper. So it's not necessarily go through the standardization process like the core specification will. So that's also kind of going to live independently. I think it's going to be a much simpler thing than what we have here, though.
Okay.
But yeah, I'll do that, and if you want to do the other thing, that would be great.
Yeah,
I'd likely be looking for like a GitHub action, maybe with some embedded Python or however you want to do it. I honestly don't care, but I want to make sure that I want to make sure that the families, the list of families, are the authoritative source of truth. And then whatever we have in that enum, I honestly don't care from version to version, just recreate it. But we should probably take into consideration ordering, so that, you know, when we regenerate these things, even if nothing has changed, that the order is maintained. Right.
That's a good point. Yeah. Okay. Then I think I thought first I will take the existing, because you have to add tool in there for this SPDX1, but if I use that, I don't think it will work, because I have to use a generic then parser to do that. Maybe I will do that with Java, because the library is not yet, to 1.7. So yeah, and then I do some ordering to make sure that it's always maybe alphabetic or something like that.
Right. Okay. Yeah, just so it's predictable, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Good. And then hopefully by the next time we meet, we can also look at the list for elliptic curve and maybe the schema for that as well. It should be fairly simple, I think.
Nice.
The key management, just for clarity, and I think we've done this already, but we already identified the key versus certificate management things, and I believe you've made those changes so that they're feature parity, correct?
Yep.
That's done, right? Okay. I thought so. I just wanted to double check.
Yes. Yeah, what I meant with key management was more like there is a business unit in IBM that is, we had a chat about it myself a couple of days ago, and they want to produce CBOM with different tools around key management and general crypto. And when they start looking into that, they identified that they might need some more properties for their use case. But I think it will be then for the next release, since they still trying to figure out what, then we have to discuss it here to generalize it and not be too specific and stuff. So I think that will take some time in general.
After we complete all the technical work for 1.7 for CBOM, we should probably revisit the authoritative guide and kind of update that for not just the 1.7, but expand it so that some of the common questions that you might hear in the forums and, in these types of things, some of those common questions are kind of answered in the guide. So, yeah, let's plan on expanding that a little bit if we can.
Just maybe in general, because I noticed that I will write a lot of the stuff in my personal to-do list, but does it make sense to use the issue tracking capabilities and the specification repo to track kind of a little? Or
well, we have a dedicated guides repo. So it's github.com/guides /CycloneDX/guides. All the guides are marked down, and then we've got a GitHub action that converts those into the nice, pretty PDFs that everybody consumes. But yeah, making changes to the guide should be fairly elementary because it's just all marked down.
Yeah. I just wondering if because I did that now for PQCA, where we do have like one working group but different tools. and they created on the org level basically a board where you can link different issues from the repos in there. So when I don't know if that makes sense also for us to have kind of for this working group, that we have an issue in the guide section and an issue in specification if we want to track it for us at least. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't really taken advantage of the organizational level issues that you can have in GitHub, right? Where you have more of that Kanban style board where things can kind of link to one another across repos. We haven't really done that. We can start. I think, there might, historically, there's been, most of our repositories are isolated, right? The specification, for example, is very different from like the Java implementation, which is different from the Node.js implementation, right? So there's not a lot of reason to have that feature, but in this case, there actually is. So we can investigate that. Matt just shared the link to the guides. So yes, we need to work on that MBOM guide. That's yes. Yeah, I think I have a to-do on that, Matt, so I apologize.
Sorry for that, Steve.
I haven't forgotten, trust me.
It might encourage me to write more.
There you go. Yeah. And we're working on a hardware guide as well. So we've got a hardware working group that's being stood up as well. And that's one of the first things we're going to be working on is a guide. So with that framing in mind, we might want to actually think about maybe some examples or some explanations of how CBOM ties not just to software and services, but how would you describe, for example, a UV stick or some other kind of physical thing that has cryptography on it?
Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to kind of suggest, or maybe just ask if that would be a place for the CBOM guide as well, because I think sometimes the perception might be that CBOM is something standalone, right? Which is not, or that it fits into the SBOM context, but I mean, it fits into like hardware BOM and what else? Or like the staff BOM, the operations as well, right? So to give some guidance on connecting these different dimensions with CBOM.
So two questions. First question is, I don't know if you talked about the PQCA here, because it came onto my radar last night. I'm going to talk to Nicholas about this after the call, maybe too. So I see that, are we generating CBOMs, I assume, from the actions and the CBOM kits that are under PQCA? And is there any overlap or any way to promote those tools from this group at OWASP? Anyway, I know it's an LF Foundation organization probably, but I don't know if we can cross promote or make examples, provide those examples. That if we have guides that produce things, can we somehow cross reference and make sure point to those tools or whatever? I don't know. Just a question.
I mean, I think at least at the moment they're in the CycloneDX tooling kind of section on the website, so we link them there because they produce one. But I think other than that, there's not. I mean, there was a repost on LinkedIn when we had some updates from I think Dependency Track or Cyclone. So that kind of happened, but I don't know what you had in mind specifically.
I just wanted to, I think it's like maybe cross-referential on the other side, because I didn't see a lot of stuff from those sites back to OWASP and back to the guides or back to whatever, you know what I mean? So yeah. I think that would be really cool.
Yes.
But maybe I have a person maybe help you do some things. So that's why I want to talk to you. Secondly, I was wondering when you're trying to enumerate different cipher suites, if there's a place for cipher suite identities with Perl. So I don't know if that's been a thought. I don't know if that's even possible, because I know but it's an identifier, and I know if we have specific suites that are published maybe not the exact code, but are, I don't know if there's some overlap there, some identification scheme besides some ad hoc one that, we're defining just for Cyclone. I don't know. Anyways, just some thoughts.
Well, the OIDs are kind of come to mind as the identifier of the algorithm, right?
Right.
And we do support that. So if you wanted to, identify specifically what the algorithm is, most of the, at least the important ones, they all have an OID.
And I mean, specifically for TLS, I mean, there are these code points, right, that identify different cipher suites, basically, or key establishment schemes as well.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not completely sure if we have them in the schema. Maybe it's something to check.
I'm just wondering if they could be represented in a Perl-like syntax. So just kind of curious. So anyway. Anyway, just a thought.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's good.
That would make it extensible. That's all I'm saying. So you could come up with a scheme that would make it extensible, to be more specific or to add things through query parameters or whatever. So anyways.
Well, I mean, the component model already supports Perl for a cryptographic asset.
Okay.
I mean, you typically wouldn't use it because there isn't a Perl type. So if you wanted to propose Perl types, right, you might actually get, I don't know how that would work either. But if you wanted to describe Perl types,
I'm just trying to say
that.
if trying to, as we pursue Perl for other domains, I'm trying to figure out where Perl would fit in.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, because like we do like we've got the SWID type now, right? Which is so not a package, but it's better than CPE for many different reasons. And so we already have kind of a way to describe non-packages in Perl.
Right.
And
Exactly.
we have precedence for it.
Yeah, and I think there's discussions about representing hardware with it as well, which would be, those won't be packages either, right? So yeah.
Right, exactly. So yeah, I know like the I don't know if you've been following the work for the Transparency Exchange API or not, but the TEI, the Transparency Exchange Identifier, is basically an extensible thing that supports Perl, GS1 standards, CPE, hashes. I mean, it supports a lot of things. That could also be, useful here to support OIDs as well.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, Transparency Exchange API was not on my mind, but exactly that was my thinking, is that make things, searchable and extensible, basically.
Yeah. Okay, makes sense.
Anyways, just some thoughts.
Yep. Is there? Okay, so I think we've got, Nicholas, I think we've got kind of our own personal to-dos. I'm just reading what's in the chat.
Oh, it's okay. Just some through. I don't talk a lot today. I just joined the group, so I am seeing how things are going and how you are working. So, yeah.
But if I recall, you had some concrete ideas, right, Tibor? Or some limitations you saw, right?
Oh, I have a lot of ideas, but I don't know if it's good or not. Maybe I can share my work on evaluating the different entity of the model and the robustness of CBOM to determine if the foundations are solid before adding anything else. I don't know if you have some high-level diagram of the schema. If not, I am willing to create one. Yeah, just for information, we are working with the colleagues of Steve's in India, ServiceNow in India. They are working with a MIT server to discover SSHK in our infrastructure based on our requirements. But right now, I don't know the model they are using to store this information in CMDB in ServiceNow. So it's my big question right now. I hope they are using CBOM, but I don't know. Yeah, maybe I can prepare a presentation for.
That would be
don't
really
know.
useful. Yeah, that would be really useful. I work for ServiceNow, full
Yeah.
disclosure. I am not on the product side, but
Okay.
I am very familiar with the ServiceNow product that does CBOM, or that does SBOM, sorry. But we've also have experience with the OWASP dependency track project, which Nicholas is, I think, leading an effort to add CBOM support to that.
Yeah.
And it's a CMDB kind of like thing. It's an SBOM first type of thing. Maybe we can kind of share the data model that we've kind of come up with you for that as well.
Okay. Thank you, Steve.
Yeah, if you find anything that's missing, I mean, especially structurally,
Sure.
those are really good call outs.
Yeah, you know, CMDB is just a database, so
Right.
we can put data like we want.
Yep.
It's why we are working on CBOM to add some standard and some things.
Can I ask you about your question, Tibor, that you posted about the validation of ciphers? What do you mean? So that there is no currently no rules how to write a cipher or an algorithm, and there are many different ways to do it. Does it go in that direction?
You know, Basil, I don't know if it's your idea or not. You know, to have a list of cipher and etc. with DOE, some literature references and something like that. But why we are I'm sorry. Why you have to do that in CBOM? It's because we don't have a global knowledge referential based, for example, on ontology. There are some different ontology for cryptography, but it's always high level, and there are some references based on academic paper on something like that, but it's bad. Okay, it's why you have to add the list of cipher with the references, etc. No, just my idea is maybe separate our inventory model, CBOM, and global knowledge of cryptography. But I don't know if it's possible or not. So, yeah.
Just wanted to check if it goes in that direction. What we are attempting with, we have a kind of this external. It's not part of the main schema, right? But it's an external list of cryptographic ciphers or algorithms together with a specification on how you should write different variants, together with references to the standards or to the paper, if there is no standard that defines them, together with definitions of what cryptographic like primitive or function it does. So yeah, just wanted to understand if that's if that goes in that direction that you are suggesting, or if and if it does, if you would have some contribution then to that list in that case.
Good idea, but I don't know if it was a question, but
yeah, just wanted to understand if that goes into if that would be a solution for your question or for your for the issue.
I don't know about the solution. I already seen something like that in healthcare, where there are some a multitude of models to describe the process in hospital, etc. And it's based on different ontology. And after that, they implement JSON validator to just instantiate a model, like maybe like CBOM. Maybe we can separate just global cryptographic knowledge and CBOM and just put references. Like 20 years ago with XML and some model based on that.
I think one of the goals with this external schema that Nicholas or that Basil was talking about is that you would actually be able to use it outside of CBOM. That's kind of the point. So if you're adopting CBOM, it's going to give you a lot more consistency in how you name things. And that's obviously when you're creating or consuming, that's kind of important. But because it's a separate schema that lives outside of CycloneDX proper, you can use that in static analysis tools or whatever without necessarily having to care or support CBOM. So that's kind of where the direction that we were going with that.
Yeah. Okay.
I posted the link to both of the files that we've kind of worked on. I believe they're both up to date now. The first one is the data itself, and the second one is the schema that it conforms to or should conform to. Nicholas?
Yeah, just in a matter of time, I don't know. Just wanted to share it because Basil and myself, we had a quick discussion and about that, and there is from our side, we think that there might be a need to look into basically a maturity model for CBOM, because we know that there is different quality of CBOM which serves maybe different use cases, and we are talking there with other companies on a not standardized level of, oh yeah, this is maybe level 1 or this maybe level 3 or 4. But I think also from the outside, it would be quite good to know which CBOM serves which purpose and which level, and to have there maybe a rank or level assigned. I don't know if you have already experience with that in terms of SBOM. But yeah, I think for CBOM it would be quite useful, and if we can leverage existing.
So what we currently have is within the SCVS project. So SCVS is the Software Component Verification Standard. It's referenced in its entirety in NIST SSDF. So any organization that needs to attest SSDF is also attesting to SCVS. Within that project, we have what's called the BOM maturity model. It's kind of like a sub-project. There's the link for that. And we basically have taken a general stance on how do you support maturity. And we did it by two different ways. Well, first of all, we took what basically CycloneDX and a little bit of what SPDX supports, and we created this taxonomy where every item in the taxonomy has an ID, a description, etc. But then we also broke it up into based on the level of difficulty something would be to do, and the level of support in the specification. So those are the two aspects, because again, you know, like we needed to find a way to do it in a general sense, because again, like Cyclone, and I mean, we support software and services and hardware and cryptography and machine learning models and a bunch of things. So we took a generalized approach that is currently out there. What is not out there is the CBOM specific fields. Those still need to be added. I'm told there's only 24 hours in a day, but if I can ever increase that number, I will certainly expand the taxonomy. But we do need to add CBOM stuff to this. However, this doesn't address what you're, I think, getting at in a PQC type. How mature is this from a purely a cryptography perspective? I don't think it kind of addresses that, and it doesn't address like different levels of maturity.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I think it goes. Yeah, no, not from a content wise. It's more like schema wise, right? That's how I understood now the maturity model, right?
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I think that's still fine. I mean, I didn't do much brainstorming, but I don't think there's a lot of. So the obvious differentiation we have is between only having an algorithm name as a name, or having all the properties mapped out.
Right.
So that's basically a difference between the simple and complex one. And so then I think the approach that the current maturity model is like kind of utilize would still work, because we could pin it then to the.
And what you can do, so what you can do with the model, and we could absolutely do this. The taxonomy, along with the difficulties and support levels and stuff like that, all of that can be grouped into what's called a profile. And if you're familiar with SPDX, like SPDX actually built profiles into the specification. We think that's a horrible idea, because the reality is that different stakeholders are going to care about different types of data in different contexts. So like having a security profile, what type of security? Information security, application security, what kind of security do you care about? A lot of these domains are very what do you call it? There's a lot of specialties in a lot of these domains. So what we wanted to do is externalize the concept of profiles, so that as an organization, you can create your own on what is acceptable, for example, what is not acceptable. And you could do that at an organizational level. You can do it on a per stakeholder role level. So like if I am on the M&A team, well, I care about this type of data. Therefore, I'm going to have a profile that makes sure that I have that kind of data on all of my M&As, or my procurement, or my legal open source license reviews, or my legal commercial licensing reviews, or my application security, or whatever. So you could theoretically then create levels. If you wanted to go down that route, you could create your own levels for like cryptography bombs, right? So maybe an introductory, like level 1 type of C bomb, all the way up to maybe level 3, which would be the most rigorous and include all the hard to obtain data. So we could do something like that, right?
That's very good point. I will take it with me. I don't and yeah, see how we. I don't want to do it like kind of as a quick action item. I think there's some thoughts needed around that, and maybe also figuring out if there's some resources in our group that wants to focus on that since we get some more. But yeah, I think that's something. Thanks
If
for the pointer to
there's-
the majority.
Yeah,
level,
absolutely.
but-
We have made a lack of progress on adding support for CBOM to the model. So we do have a meeting. I believe it's every other week, I think, on is it this time?
Thursday, yeah.
It's Thursdays, right? It's
Yeah,
it's basically the opposite time of this, right? So it's
Yeah.
yeah, it is, right? So we meet every other week, and so does that team at the exact same time, just
Well,
alternating
no,
weeks.
it's actually the hour after.
Oh, is it the hour after?
Yeah, we meet, actually, the next one looks like it's on the 22nd, the hour after this one, yeah.
All right.
Oh, the hour after. Okay.
Yeah, I see it in my calendar. Okay, SCV, yes, I wasn't like pinning it
Yeah.
to this maturity model, but yeah, maybe I will join then the next one to get
Okay.
better understanding.
I mean, I guess, so to build on that point though, Steve, so to me, it's the rating you would give it is relative to the context. So I've been struggling with this with my own space, AI. So if I'm creating a general bill of materials, software bill of materials, having some information about cryptography or AI, the AI model cards is better than nothing. But that's relative. But if I go into, if I'm focusing on the CBOM domain or the AI domain, then I want to go deeper than say you have a model card and some basic stuff. So so it's a tiered thing, I believe, as well. So especially I worry about the referential aspects. So if we produce like a referential SBOM, a bomb link to a CBOM, or a bomb link to an AI bomb or ML bomb, I should say. How do we reference that with SCVS saying if you go here, we've summarized the rating and we carried over to the main bomb or whatever.
Yep.
Anyways.
All right. We're at time. So thank you all for joining. Thanks to the newcomers. Glad to see you. Hope you come back. Hopefully we didn't scare you. But yeah, we'll talk to you next time. And Nicholas, I'll probably talk to you before then, I'm sure. All right.
Thank you
Cheers,
so
everyone.
much. See you.
Take care.
Thank you.
Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.